of the way cities were emerging, because of the way Mahajanpadas were rising, because of the way Magad was becoming so important, 6th century BC is called the second urbanization. It's a very dynamic period. Which is the first urbanization? Which period is first urbanization? The Indus Valley civilization. So after the first urbanization, which is IVC, the second urbanization, 6th century BC, is considered a very dynamic period. So this period between 600 to 500, maximum till 400 BCE, is quite important because of the fact that this period sees rise of territorial states, sees rise of trade, sees rise of Panchmark coins, sees rise of Magad. But a very important thing which happened in the same period was also the rise of three religions. Three new religions emerged during this period, and this module, which is module number 3, is the only standalone module which is basically on Buddhism, Jainism, and Ajivikism. It's the only module which is religious history, because here a lot of questions are made. Buddhism, Jainism generally is a very favorite topic of the UPSC. Now we start module number 3. There are two. R. Sharma has one chapter, and the 12th class NCERT has one chapter. If you want to read it, we talk about now what is called heterodox traditions, or heterodox means non-orthodox, and orthodox would mean basically the Vedic tradition, and whatever does not comply with Vedic tradition is called heterodox. Now, wouldn't the class run today, Yashi? I don't know what you mean by that. We are running the class now. First things first, I'll be teaching you something here, and there are 2-3 very important disclaimers. I'm going to discuss the rise of Buddhism, Jainism with you, and Ajivikism. Ajivikism is the first, rather. Ajivikism, Buddhism, Jainism. And there's a very important, very important disclaimer and rider. And the disclaimer and rider is that here we have to stick to what is needed for the examination. Buddhism, Jainism, and Ajivikism are religions. And this is history class, not Astha channel. So the questions, for example, related to does it work, how will it work, should it work, do you believe in it, the answer to that question is I really don't care. What I care is that you understand what you have to know for the examination. Other than that, I really don't care if Buddhism works or not. First thing. Second thing is, you don't have to become emotional here also. That I will do Buddhism in such a way that every term which is there in Buddhism, I will remember. That is also not possible. Can you remember each and every Shastra, Puran, and Veda of Hinduism? Can you? No? So the same way you can't remember the whole of Buddhism in 3.5 hours. And for the examination, as it is, you don't have to worry about that. This chapter is not controversial. It is something where students try to do something which is not needed, which is do a thesis on Buddhism, Jainism. So the simple point is, there's a whole department in Delhi University called Buddhist Studies. They're still trying to figuring out a lot of that Buddhism. I really don't care about that. So I'm going to talk about moksha, atma, rebirth, birth. You will ask me, sir, do you believe in it? No, I don't. Do I believe in it? Yes, I also. So my belief does not matter. So do you believe in it? Yes. Do I not believe in it? No. Does it work? Can it work? Do you believe in afterlife? The answer to these questions is I really don't care. So you will not ask me Astha type questions. This is not about faith and religion. It's about UPSC. If this is clear to everybody, if this is acceptable to everybody, we start. Because I don't want questions that no Atma is like this, and stop and do not quote me Shastra, this, that, and the random people from Instagram when you will say, no, sir, you are saying incorrect. Whatever I'm saying is UPSC. After that, whatever your Baba says, you believe that. Okay? Now, what we have to understand is the context. Now, we have to understand the context of the rise of Buddhism, Jainism. Now, if you ask Buddhism, Jainism, or Ajivikism, why did you rise? They will, perfect, Apurva, they will, are Buddhism, Jainism second religion after Vedic? Yes, yes, yes. Vedic Brahmanism one first, then Buddhism, Jainism second. Okay. I'll tell you everything, just wait. Ajivikism I hear is first. Sure, why not? Now, if you ask Buddhism, Jainism, they'll give you big fundas, which is materialism was going through, there was moral corruption, there was a need for a new religion. So their funda is actually based on certain morality and materialism idea. However, in order to understand the rise of Buddhism, Jainism, you have to understand Vedic Brahmanism correctly. Now, Vedic Brahmanism is based on the fourfold Varna system. Now, fourfold Varna system, you have Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, and the concept is that they are rigid. They are rigid. Status cannot change. They're by birth. Now, the 6th century BC is the period of trade and commerce. A lot of wealth is generated here. Now, from trade and commerce, which Varna is going to become wealthy? Trade and commerce, which Varna is going to become wealthy? Vaishya. So, Vaishya community starts to become very wealthy, and lot of prosperity in this community. However, even if they gain a lot of money, their status cannot change. The status cannot change. So irrespective of the fact that there's a lot of money generated, they remain third. This is the first thing which is happening. This is the first thing which is happening. The second thing is with the Kshatriyas. Which is that they have a lot of, they are rulers, they have power, they have control over everything. Rise of big states. But does that change their status? Does that change their status? Status remains second. So there's a frustration which is building up. There's a frustration which is building up. And the frustration is that Vaishya community cannot change their status but have a lot of wealth. On the other hand, the Kshatriyas have a lot of power but still remain second and subjugated to Brahmins. Now this is called the audience is building. The constituency is building. Any religion is what it is because of its followers. Any religion is a religion when it has followers. So religion needs followers. And there are two communities which are basically feeling more and more frustrated by the way the Brahmins dominate the Varna system and have to be given a status within society itself. So you have two communities which basically want some change, and the fact is that Vedic Brahmanism won't change the order or status of the Varnas irrespective of anything. And it is not a coincidence that which are the communities which are basically Buddhist and Jain today? Mostly the merchant and trading communities. The commercial classes, Jains and Buddhists, mostly till the medieval period will be basically traders. So the audience comes from here. So the need develops here that there's a frustration which they will tap into. So do we understand the frustration? Then I'll tell you the other aspect. Okay, we understand the frustration. Now, let's talk about Vedic Brahmanism and its path, rather and its path to moksha. Now here comes a word, but the king can control the Brahmin. Subjugation means to be under somebody. The Varna system is based on rigid first, second, third, fourth way concept. Vaishyas have a lot of money but still a third, and Kshatriyas have a lot of power but they're still second. I don't know how you understand Varna or not. A king can do a lot of things, but he will always be subordinated to the Brahmin when it comes to social status and ritual status. And therefore, very simply, the kings feel that they are so powerful. Why do they need to basically bow down to a Brahmin? And the Vaishya community believes that they have so much money, then why should be they call the third status? This is the frustration. Social status is the point here. Social status is the point here. Is Vedic Hinduism, Vedic Brahminism is early Hinduism, not Hinduism per se, but early Hinduism. I'm coming to what is moksha, if you allow me to do that. I have asked you, does this make sense? Some of you said it did not. Even somehow the king have somehow controlled Brahmins. Yes, sure. But when the yagna will happen, when the social status will happen, the Brahmin will be fed first. The Brahmin will be given the status first. So problem is you are very constitutional 2023. You don't understand how Varna system works. Very good thing, but it still exists. And Brahmin domination is something which is always there. So ask your parents, grandfather, grandparents about Varna. They will tell you properly what Varna means, which is that social status is social status. If a Brahmin walks, you can't walk in front of him. He is the first and the most important Varna in that regard. So leave it. Leave it. If you don't know it, good, you are not been exposed to it. So the simple point is every religion needs followers, and the audience for the new religions needed to be there. I can be Buddha, I can be Mahavira, but if nobody wants to follow me, I am a useless person. I have no religion or I have no power in that regard. Religion only survives on followers. Any religion has to have followers in that sense. So, Kshatriyas have political power, no status. Vaishyas have money, no status. Are we clear? Okay. Religion needs follower, question mark, yes. Start a religion, won't survive if there are no followers. Now, Vedic Brahmanism or early Hinduism also has a very peculiar way of what we call as moksha. Now, what is moksha? See, moksha is based on the concept of soul or atma, and the concept is very simple. You have a body, you also have a soul inside you. Now, the concept is this physical body is their first step to conversion into an religion. And I don't know, Anishika, where you have brought in conversion and all. No. Okay. So the concept is that you have a physical body. This is nashvar, or what we call as perishable. It will it will age. It will later become useless. So the concept is very simple, that how we change clothes, soul changes bodies. And therefore, the soul keeps on changing bodies, and this is called the cycle of birth and rebirth. The cycle of birth and rebirth. God gave, or God created the soul, and the soul thereafter keeps on changing bodies, and the soul is caught up in this endless cycle. Is caught up in this endless cycle. So you may have one life, but your soul has had multiple lives in that regard. Now the question is, the soul is trapped. It is trapped in a endless cycle of birth and rebirth, and therefore what we want is that the soul should be freed of the endless cycle of birth and rebirth. And that is basically called moksha. Salvation, sometimes called nirvana also. Also called nirvana. The concept is that the time the soul breaks this cycle and becomes part of God, it is called moksha. Soul, as I told you, changes bodies from time to time. It is part of this endless cycle of birth and rebirth. And soul needs to be freed from this endless cycle to basically become free. And this freedom of from the cycle itself is called moksha. So the basic point is the only truth in life is death. I cannot guarantee to you anything, but I can guarantee to you one thing, which is death will happen. Everybody has to die some way or the other, or someday or the other. And what happens after death is the question, which is can my soul get this moksha and it becomes part of where it came from. So it was created by Brahma and it should become part of Brahma itself. This is the core concept of Vedic Brahmanistic ideas and mostly all religions in the subcontinent, which is the concept of birth, rebirth, and moksha. Now the question is, how do you get moksha in Vedic Brahmanism? And the answer to this question is sacrifice, rituals, and service to Brahmins. So basically, the answer to every question which a Brahman has is that you do some sacrifice, you do some ritual, and you get punya or ritual merit. And with ritual merit, you will reach a point where you have got the right number or the right amount of ritual merit. So then you can encash these points and get moksha. So the concept is very simple. Sacrifice ritual. But there's a problem. The problem is that both are expensive and not everyone can do it. So there's one more frustration. Frustration with the obsession with rituals and sacrifices. The fact, rather, will not use the word obsession, the frustration with the centric nature or ritual centric nature and sacrifices being central to moksha. So the fact of the matter is that There's one frustration which is general, which is basically the problem with rigidity. And the other frustration is more with the way moksha works in Vedic Brahmanism. The problem is that everything is about ritual and sacrifice, everything is about ritual and sacrifice. And therefore, they are getting frustrated over the fact that for everything, when you go do this ritual, do this sacrifice, in which you have to then feed Brahmins, you have to give money to Brahmins. The fact is that it is a system in which there is a lot of discontent which is rising. So there is a whole set of frustration which is not talked about, but is the real reason for the context in which Buddhism and Jainism became possible. The first is the Vaishya community frustration with status, with a lot of money. Second is the Kshatriya frustration with the power politics, but second position in rituals and social status. And generally, there is one more frustration, which is the frustration with the path of moksha in Vedic Brahmanism, which is rituals and sacrifices. And thereafter, if I add the superficial definition, which is called materialism, moral degeneration, sorrow, death, poverty of 6th century BCE, you get the context for rise of Buddhism and Jainism. Ajivikism, Buddhism and Jainism. Does this make sense? See, moksha is not available to the fourth varna itself. It is only the first three. Ajivikism, I'll tell you what it means. Understand one thing: Buddhism, Jainism absorb the conservatism of Vedic Brahmanism when it comes to Shudras. Shudra and women are equally discriminated, a little bit less maybe, women less, but Shudras are not made part of Buddhism, Jainism quite a lot. There's a that kind of conservatism is there in Buddhism, Jainism also. Does Vedas have mention of Varna system? Yes. How do the Brahmins themselves get moksha? I mean, they cannot be service to themselves, right? Well, that question a Brahmin can answer. Reason for poverty, because there is a lot of wealth, so there will be wealth, there will be higher and lower also. So with materialism means you are obsessed with money. Obsession with money will rise in 6th century BCE because at the end of the day, the more money will be there, more wealth will be there, the more people will go into poverty and sorrow will be there. Does Ajivikism exist even today? Yes, it exists. Materialism was acknowledged by Kshatriyas and Vaishyas. Yes. Sorrow, death means kya? Sorrow meaning dukh. Death means marna. More degeneration, meaning that moral degeneration, meaning there are no morals. Aptitude, ethics paper was added for the same reason. In Buddhism, women are allowed. I read it somewhere. Sure. Only after the mother of Buddha and her aunt actually forced Buddha to open it to women. And in ideas of Buddhism and Jainism, women getting moksha is again problematic. In Jainism, woman gets moksha when she reincarnates herself into a man and then gets moksha. So don't fall into that trap. Don't fall into the trap. There are multiple points. Now comes the emotional questions. Sir, in general, we can say Vedic Brahmanism force system was created by Brahmin only. Yes. After the reading of the Vedas. Varna system was by birth. Yes, she 2 days later is asking me this question. Kshatriya is second, Brahmin is first. Yes. Sir, which people are Jain Buddhist? People who then chose Buddha's path, mostly Kshatriya and Vaishya community. We have to remember the attainment of moksha and Vedic Brahmanism. No, but you have to understand the idea of moksha. So, but discrimination of people, reason of Buddhism. So, will there be discrimination? Yes. So, you are thinking that they are very, very different. No, Buddhism, Jainism have the same. Buddhism, Jainism just change the order of the Varna system. They make the Kshatriya first, Vaishya second. And thereafter, they don't talk about Brahmins only. So, there are only two communities. So, why not? So, you don't think of them as revolutionary religions. Jainism has this basic straightforward concept. Jainism, in Digambar, women cannot be saints. In Shwetambar, women has to be reincarnated as a man to become or to get moksha. The nun has to go through a totally different process itself. And then Buddha was not very keen to open the Sangha to women initially. So there's a lot of history to unpack, which is not of any purpose to you, but I'm telling you that. Okay. Materialism means to be running after money, which we are materialistic today. Both Judaism and Jainism are different. Yes, they're different. So Buddhism, Jainism are no, they are not branches of Hinduism. मतलब मैं separate religion लिख रहा हूँ. You are saying that it's a branch of Buddhism. Were their religions opportunistic? No, it is. Every religion is opportunistic. Okay, now rise of Buddhism, Ajivikism, Jainism, all of them have to be based on the socio-economic context of the 6th century BCE. Now, please understand this point. Nobody is asking you this. I have told you this because in books you will find this. Rise of mercantile class, orthodox Brahmanical tradition, Varna identity was getting crystallized. Materialism was the reason why new social outlook was used. Nobody is asking you the context. I am telling you the context because I want to tell you that it's not randomly that Buddhism, Jainism rise. Buddhism, Jainism rise because there is a constituency in the Vaishyas and the Kshatriyas. Both of them are literally frustrated by the way they have social status, and second, they are asked to do expensive one after the other rituals. So very simply, the Vaishya community and the Kshatriya community were looking for a new social outlook. That is the only point I'm trying to say. If you understand it, very good. This decoding you will not get in books. I'm telling you automatically. This is what is the point, which is frustration. When you will ask Buddhism, Jainism, they will give you this idea of materialism, that people were getting frustrated with materialism, with the ideas of money. They were in dukh. They were not having any happiness. Therefore, they went into. This is not the reason. There are further two more sets of reasons which are there, which is frustration with Vedic Brahmanism. And therefore, that becomes the context for rise of Ajivikism, which is the first heterodox sect. And thereafter, we'll talk about Buddhism, Jainism. What is this Buddhism, Jainism? That is what I have to teach you also. So, are we clear about the context? Already 45 minutes discussion, all to create context for you. This is not part of your, this is a academic level knowledge I'm giving you. Okay. Now, the first religion which rose is called Ajivikism. These are not part of Buddhism. These are not part of Hinduism or Vedic Brahmanism. This is the second major new religion. Now, Ajivikism, the most important proponent or the one who made it very popular is a person called Makhali Gosala. Now, father is Mankhali, mother is Bhada, and because he was born in a Goshala, now Makhali Gosala had a very simple reason and a very simple argument against all of this. The question is how to attain moksha. That is the question that everybody will try to answer. First major religion was Vedic Brahmanism. Wake up, good morning, 4 classes into. Makhali Gosala, every religion will try to answer the same exact question. How to attain moksha? They are alternative paths. They are alternative paths. And Makhali Gosala gave a very simple, straightforward concept. And the word he used was niyati. Pritesh, I don't know, what are you not understanding? What are you not understanding? Vedic Brahmanism is there. Everybody wants to get moksha, which is allow their soul to go out of birth and rebirth cycle. And therefore, Vedic Brahmanism wanted to do it through sacrifices and rituals. That is the reason why people were getting frustrated. Too many expensive sacrifices and rituals. And therefore, 3 new alternative paths and new religions will emerge in 6th century BCE, which will in turn lead to the rise of 3 new concepts itself. This particular concept. Padhane to do bhai. First, let me teach you something, then you will understand and not understand it. So, I have not taught you anything. You're saying I'm not understanding. So, let me tell you what is niyati. Patience is the word which a lot of you don't have. So, pay attention. I will ask you that does it make sense or not? I've been doing that for the past 3 classes. I'll do it again also. So, when I ask you, do you understand the context of the rise of Buddhism, Jainism and Ajivikism? Do you understand that, Pritesh? Before writing that I don't understand this. No. What is the issue there? Wait. What is the issue there? What is the issue there? What is not making sense to you? So when I move forward, you're asking me to, what is the issue there? I'm waiting for your answer. Conceptual clarity. Arey phanda mat do yaar. You tell me exact, safe point. What is not clear? Do you don't know that it is Vedic Brahmanism, or you don't know what is Vedic Brahmanism, or you don't understand moksha, or you don't understand frustration, or you don't understand the idea itself? Conceptual clarity means what? Three points I've made. I'll repeat it, and that is the level of patience I have. There is Vedic Brahmanism as the first religion. For anybody who does not want to ask and is in the same position, remember, simple point. Vedic Brahmanism is there. 6th century BC is the period of trade and commerce. Vaishyas will gain money and Mahajanpadas will give Kshatriyas power. They have second and third position. Nobody likes to be second and third, and they also don't like that. With rise of money, a constituency was created with 2 communities within the Vedic Brahmanistic fold who wanted change, and Vedic Brahmanism would not change. Now, the pretext of change could not be that they wanted to change the status. They showed their frustration in the way a very fundamental question was asked in every religion, which is how do you get moksha? Now, how do you get moksha in Vedic Brahmanism? Is rituals and sacrifices, which not everybody can do, and whoever can do needs money. And therefore, three frustrations came together to create the context in which Makhali Gosala, Buddha, and Mahavira could talk about something new, and they would get followers automatically. So, the first frustration is the fact that you have a second and third position. The second frustration is the fact that you have a path to moksha, which is very, very expensive. Third frustration, which they talk about themselves, is that people were also getting frustrated by the ideas of materialism, the ideas of the concept of degeneration. Nobody had morals. People were dying. People were diseased. People were had problematic existence. And that in turn led to the context. This was the academic discussion. If you can't make that out, no issues. But I have repeated itself. Any book will straight away start. Still not understanding, lot of confusion. Please guide me. Humble request. Okay, firstly, 99.999999% of the class says yes. First thing. But if you're not understanding, you have to tell me what are you not understanding. Pritesh, everybody had to do that. Don't give me that line, because then if I get actually angry, then there will be a problem. I'm still showing patience. You tell me what are you not understanding. Is this your first class? First tell me the fundamental question. Anurag, I'll ignore him, but you will not tell me to do that. Stop being democratic. It is not a democracy. This is not your first class. You were there 3 classes before this. Because he's not alone, I know that. There are a lot of people, Gumnami Babas, who are sitting there who have no idea what is happening. You are there in, this is the point that breaks the flow. But if it flow has broken down, then it should be worthwhile. So simple point is, this is not your first class. So you understand what is Vedic Brahmanism? Ajivikism, I will come back to. Don't start to teach yourself. Why the word moksha rose? Because moksha is something which everybody wants. Please use the word Lord before Buddha and Mahavira. Lord Ashe, I will do that. मेरी कोई बात नहीं. Perfect. I told you people will become emotional. Emotional and useless question. That is what is coming. Pritesh, I am giving you another opportunity to tell me what is not making sense, because I've already broken the flow. Please solve my problem. What is the problem? You are telling me microwave is not working, but what part is not working? I'll leave you to the SME now. I'll really leave you to the SME. You are not giving me a specific question. Vedic Brahm, you have either you are not understanding what is moksha only. You have a soul inside you. That soul wants to be part of God. If you will do good deeds in life, only that will happen, which you are not doing it right now. So, very simply, I too had to pay fees. Now, this is what I hate as a comment. कौन फ्री में बैठा है यहाँ पे? I'm actually not going to, Pritesh, literally I'm going to ignore you. I'm asking you to tell me the problem. You are not doing that. So bad manners, ignore. Everybody here is sitting here after giving a fees only. So don't you dare or anybody use this line. So I'll ignore this. We'll move forward. Okay. The pretext more or less is clear to everyone, which is the fact that there's a frustration because of the social order, and there's a frustration with the path to salvation as perceived in Vedic Brahmanism, and there's also a concept that there is a lot of moral degeneration rising. Now, the first person who comes up with an alternative concept is a person called Makhali Gosala. He can see that within the society, there's a frustration which is rising, like right now as it is rising in the class itself. So this frustration which you can see, which you can feel, this frustration could be seen by Makhali Gosala. And Makhali Gosala can see that the Vaishya community is also getting frustrated, the Kshatriyas are also getting frustrated, and over and above that, the fact is that not everybody can pay to get salvation itself. So he comes up with a very simple, straightforward concept. And that concept is niyati. Niyati means predestination or destiny. What Makhali Gosala says is that no human action has any consequence. No human action has any consequence. And basically, you will get moksha if you already have been destined to it. So basically, if you ask Makhali Gosala, I want to give the UPSC examination, can I clear it? So his answer is going to be, you will clear it if it is in your destiny. So anything you do does not really matter. If you do not have it in your destiny, you won't clear it. If you will have it, then you will automatically clear it. Niyati means destiny. Now, obviously, it's a very dumb answer. Obviously, it's a very dumb concept. But think of it, how it undercuts Vedic Brahmanism. What is Vedic Brahmanism saying? Vedic Brahmanism is saying, do ritual, do sacrifice, do ritual, do sacrifice, and when you do ritual and sacrifice, you gain certain punya. So basically, do I have authority to change my destiny? Do I have authority to change my destiny in Vedic Brahmanism? In Vedic Brahmanism, yes, I have. If I do more and more punya, and when I reach a certain punya point, I will thereafter become eligible for moksha. Now, what Makhali Gosala is saying, no, you do what you want to do. If you don't give, or if it is not in your destiny, you will not get moksha itself. It is already fixed. So then people used to ask the most important proponent of Ajivikism that what should we then do? He said nothing. You wait for death. So he said, let us do one thing. Let us give up on everything, which is this life, this materialistic world, this what we call as money, and even clothes and everything we should give up. Let us go and sit in the forest and wait to get moksha. This is basically the idea of Ajivikism. See, in themselves, does it make sense or not is immaterial to you. But in the examination, if you see the word, the central belief is that absolutely everything is predetermined by fate or niyati, and hence human action has no consequence one way or the other. Ajivikism or Ajiviks were no clothes, lived in as ascetic monks in organized groups, and the two very important people were Ajiviks, Bindusara and Ashoka himself initially. So the simple point is there was a frustration which was rising, and that frustration, first alternative path was given by Makhali Gosala, who talked about a new concept itself, which is niyati. that this Brahmin is basically making a fool out of you. And because he's making a fool out of you, you should stop doing that, give up everything, let's go into the forest and let's wait for moksha to happen. And when moksha will happen, if I am destined to get it, okay, maybe in the next life I'll get it. If you are destined to get it, you will get it. Basically, for the purpose of the examination, what comes in the examination is central principle. Central principle is niyati, fate. Whatever you do is immaterial. Try to understand it in not today's context. Try to understand it in the context in which it came out, which is when people are talking about yagya sacrifice, he's saying all these sacrifices and yagyas are useless. It is already predetermined if you'll get moksha or not. Does this make sense? Ajivikism is the first religion to emerge after Vedic Brahmanism, still exists in certain pockets of India, but is not very popular right now. But life itself a journey of gratitude, and why wait for salvation? You look at it like that, but there's an obsession with moksha right now. You want to look at it like that, sure, but their obsession is what happens after death. What happens after death, which is I want my soul to get moksha. That is the most important thing which I want to do, which is that my consciousness gets a certain type of salvation, and that salvation is when it becomes part of something it came out of. Okay. You have heard about Ajiviks for the first time, but they are actually the first to emerge even before Buddhism, Jainism. Simple point is, karma has no consequence. Niyati will give you automatically moksha. So rather, why waste time? Sit. Why do something? Just sit and wait for death. Are we clear? Ajivikism still are there. Certain sects are there in India till today who are practicing Ajiviks. But Ajivik saints were never very popular other than Kshatriyas. I'll tell you why Kshatriyas are why Bindusara and Ashoka. Ashoka basically used Ajivikism very well initially in his rule. I'll tell you that. But you just have to remember Ajivikism, not very popular today, but did exist as a religion as the first major response to Vedic Brahmanism. Match is already fixed. That is the basic point. How Ajiviks survived doing nothing? Because Ajiviks used to get grants from the kings, food and all was available in the forest, and I really don't care that way. They don't worship any particular god. Just wait there, just wait there. It's waiting for death. Ascetic life, saintly life. Can we go to Buddhism? We started with the first thing, context. Why would there be a need for new alternative paths? We understood two frustrations, one with social order, second with the path itself. And we've discussed the first major response, which is Ajivikism as the first major religion to rise at this point of time, which was quite common at that point of time. Vedic Brahmanism is today's Hinduism, but it's in early form. Hinduism, what you today call is called Puranic Hinduism, that will come in the Gupta period. They would have died early, this and that. I really don't care. How it works for the Ajiviks is not of no purpose to me. I really don't care if they get it or not. The simple point is they are the first response to the frustration building up in the society in 6th century BC. Now I'm going to move to Buddhism, because that is the most important area from which at least once a year, every year, if not alternatively, one or two questions always come. So we have to discuss Buddhism. That is our core concept. And here I want you to concentrate, because here it really matters. You understand Buddhist core philosophy, the councils, and the concept of Mahayanic, Hinayanic, Vajrayanic Buddhism. So everybody is with me till this point? No issues. Yes? Sir, according to Vedas, you can change your life, but according to Ajivikism, you cannot. Yes, in a way. Okay. Fear of afterlife, moksha. A solution was reason for new concept. Yes, in a way. Yes, in a way. Everybody's on the same page with me, because most probably in between I would have to give you a break because it will become too much after a point. Okay. We will kill someone and say it is as destination, as predestination. Sakshi, you're basically talking like Ashoka. We'll talk about that. Ashoka justified everything before Kalinga war by saying that I'm an Ajivik. मेरे हाथों लिखा हुआ था. It was written that I will kill 1.5 lakh people. We'll talk about that. Ashoka has to be interpreted in a different way. I will tell you that. Basically, which caste and all, there is not caste. They are not part of the Varna system. They don't reject the Varna system. That is the pretext to being an Ajivik. In which region Ajiviks? North India. North India, this is all Patliputra sector. Ajivikism is practical. It's not about practical. It's about how you undercut something. You saw the episode which happened in class right now. So the fact that he is not able to understand, he pins on the fact that I paid, so teach me. So it's about how you undercut something. It's about undercutting something. So the way there is undercutting is, they say do a lot of things. They say, koi fayda hi nahi hai. There's no point only. You are wasting money because if you have to get it, you will get it. Now people are influenced by these ideas, and therefore comes the idea of Ajivikism in that sense. Okay. So in fourfold, see, Ajiviks were not followed quite popularly because it's very hard to do what they're saying. Give up everything and go into the forest. That cannot happen. Okay. We'll talk about what was happening in South India. That's called the megalithic period. Let me first complete till Maurya in north, then we'll go to south. Every action is equal opposite reaction. Sure, Shiva, you want to take it like that. How do Ajiviks live without clothes now, sir? They don't. How do Jain monks live without clothes today? There are multiple Jain monks which don't wear clothes. Okay. The Victorian notion of British ideas of clothing is something which is outside the purview. Okay. Now, practically it is different from Hinduism. They are a separate religion. They still exist. Yeah, they still exist. Still exist. Okay. Now comes the most popular religion between 6th century BCE and 300 CE. How much years is this? How many years is this? 6th century BCE to 300 CE. How much years is this? Close to 900 years. Close to 900 years. Buddhism was the most preferred religion of the rulers and the most popular religion amongst everybody. And there was a reason for that. And now we need to understand, how is that the case? How is that the case? Now, Buddha, the story of Buddhism starts with a person called Siddhartha. Now, what I'm going to tell you again is irrelevant more or less for UPSC, but comes in state PCS examinations quite a lot, which is Buddha, what he saw, what was the horse he was riding, where did he give the first sermon and all. UPSC doesn't ask these things, but generally is relevant for PCS level examinations. State PCS will get a lot of questions out of this. Now you have to understand this because I'm basically teaching you art and culture also in a way. This is a topic which is pure ancient India, but most of art and culture can be understood only if you understand Buddhism, Jainism properly. So the story is that Siddhartha was born to a Kshatriya clan. His father is Sudodhan and mother is Maya. So Sudodhan and Maya gives birth to a child who's going to be called as Siddhartha. Now, the legend goes, as per Buddhist philosophy, that when he was born, he had 32 signs on his body, which the Brahmin saw and said that that Siddhartha has the signs of doing two things. Either he can be the world conqueror, meaning he can conquer the world itself, or he will be the world renunciator. Renunciant means he will give up on everything. He will be the biggest monk of all. So, world renunciant, world conqueror. Now, if your father is a ruler, Sudodhan, what would you like your son to be? World conqueror or world renunciant? You would want him to be world conqueror, world ruler, that he rules the world so that he is going to be the most powerful ruler. So Siddharth was born and Sudodhan comes up with a plan. Sudodhan comes up with this plan that if I keep him happy in every way, he will never have the urge of giving up anything. I will give him a lot of money, I'll give him a lot of comfort. Everything I keep around him, he will feel that this is necessary. He will never allow or never go for the renunciant's path itself. And therefore, the idea was that Siddharth will be married, and he was married and had a son, Yashodhara, he was married to, has a son also, Rahula. And between 20 to 29, he's kept in a lot of comfort. Big palaces, he is there. He is very, very, very well known to be the prince who has all the comforts in the life. Now the point is, how do you change your destiny is not based by the things around you. So Siddharth always had this thing that whatever amount of what we call as comfort or money you give him, he was never happy, not that happy. So at the age of 29, he was standing in his balcony and he sees four things which will change his life forever. He sees an old man, he sees a corpse, and he sees a sick man. Sick man means diseased. Now, Siddhartha thinks to himself that can money stop aging? And the answer to that question was no. You can have any amount of money, any amount of power, but you can't stop the process of aging. You can do as much plastic surgery as you want. The day when it will come, you will die, because death is given, which comes to the second thing which he saw, which is that if I can't stop aging, I can't stop death. Death will happen for sure. You can be the prime minister, you can be the president, you can be the prime minister of America, you can be anybody and everybody, but you will die for sure. Aging is something which will happen. All your life you will run after things, but by the time your time will come, you cannot take anything with you. Death is the only truth of life which is given and is an unending, unquestionable truth. And this again, Sachin Sakshi, that's a wrong story. He was traveling somewhere with the servant story, is a totally wrong story. I know what books you're reading, don't worry about that. No. And that is based on the which Jatak you're referring to. One Jatak will say this, other Jatak will say that. This is the most accepted story. And I really don't care which story is right. Old man, corpse he sees, and he understands the futility of money. And the third thing which he sees is even more disturbing to him, which is disease. COVID-19 proved to us in that sense that money doesn't really matter. If it was your time, COVID-19, that was a very egalitarian, impacted everybody equally. Very poor or very wealthy. When it came to disease, it will happen for sure. Now, the point is, he's seen these three things. And now, the fact is, Siddharth is literally disillusioned by money because money can't stop the three ultimate truths of life. Disease will hit you, corpse will be there, and you will die for sure, and old aging cannot be stopped. Now, the answer to this question was the fourth thing which he saw, which was a monk. He said that if death is what we await, then what is the point of money? Rather, I should make sure my death, the soul gets the last death as it is, that it does not have to be reborn. So legend goes that at the age of 29, after looking at these three things and a band of 5 monks, Buddha will jump off the balcony to his horse called Kanthanka, and whilst riding Kanthanka, he will go and join the monks, 5 wandering monks. This is the moment in which Buddha turned out to be the world renunciant and not the world conqueror. And now Buddha joins these monks and says, I want to know the truth to how to get moksha other than what the existing model is, Now, the monks say that you have to meditate with us, and you have to meditate and you have to give up on everything. But one of the most important conditions which these monks put in was meditation has to happen without food. You have to give up on food, fasting. And meditation needs to happen in the forest. All 5 we will meditate, and there needs to be giving up of a lot of things, which includes all your worldly pleasures, all your desires, and even food in that regard. Now, the legend again goes is that Buddha wandered with these people for close to a year, but he was never able to concentrate whilst meditating. And therefore, what is believed that while sitting under a peepal tree, one day across the river, he saw a lady. And that lady is called Sujata. Now, Sujata thought that Buddha is a monk, so she should offer something to him. And she will make kheer, rice and milk sweetened dessert. And she will pass the kheer through the river and give it to Buddha. Now, it is believed that Buddha ate that kheer. But as soon as he ate that kheer, the other 5 monks said, you are not a serious aspirant. You will never get the truth. So these five monks will leave him. So the group study did not work out very well because the candidate was not serious. He did something which he should not have done. So Buddha was then left behind by these 5 people, and now having eaten the dead body. Nothing. Okay. Now, having eaten that kheer, It is believed that Buddha will get the right amount of concentration power, and now Buddha will sit to meditate. And when he will meditate, he will attain enlightenment. Enlightenment is basically the moment in which he gets to know about the ultimate truth. And the truth he got to know, the truth he got to know is called the Ashtanga Marg. He got to know about the Atriya Sachais, the four noble truths, and the way to come out of it, which is called the Ashtanga Marga, which is eightfold path. It is believed that the same 5 aspirants who had left him, saying that you are not a serious aspirant, the first sermon was given by Buddha to the same 5 people under the Bodhi tree at Sarnath, and that moment is called a very enlightening moment in the history of Buddhism. That is called the movement of Dharma Chakra Parivartana. Dharma Chakra, or sometimes also called Dhamma Chakra. Dhamma Chakra. Now, Dhamma and Dharma are the same thing. This is a Sanskrit word. This is a Prakrit word. So it's called Dhamma Chakra Parivartana or Dharma Chakra Parivartana. And this is represented in Buddhist religion as the chakra, which we use today in the Indian emblem, and what is called the Ashokan Chakra. Ashokan Chakra is actually nothing but the Dharma Chakra Parivartan, the turning of the wheel of Dharma, that the enlightened one was born. Siddharth, 29th, old man, sick man, corpse, renunciant, left his out on Kanthanka, wandered for 6 years seeking truth. Under people tree, gets enlightenment, gives his first sermon. Sermon means teaching, which is at Sarnath. This moment is called the moment of turning of wheel of Dhamma or Dharma, Dharma Chakra Parivartan. And between this point and his death at Kusinagar, Buddha will propagate what is called as the Atriya Sachais and the Ashtang Marg, which I will tell you. What is this Ashtang Marg? I will tell you that. Dhamma is a Prakrit word. Dharma is a Sanskrit word. This makes sense. If it doesn't, really doesn't matter. How he got enlightenment is immaterial. But how to consider the death age, sir? We have text telling us that he died at the age of 80. Are we clear about the basic story of Buddha getting enlightenment? Sujata is considered important because she is the one who gave the nourishment for him to get enlightenment. If the story is clear, very good. If it isn't, it is totally immaterial to you. UPSC will never ask you a question out of this area. Okay. What does Dharma Chakra Parivartan mean? Dharma Chakra Parivartan, meaning turning of the wheel of Dharma, which is Buddha was born. Buddha means enlightened one. So the moment Siddharth becomes Buddha, Dharma Chakra Parivartan. The moment you will become from aspirant to IS officer, Dharma Chakra Parivartan. That is what is there. Sarman means teaching. Okay. Now, what does chakra represent? Chakra represents wheel. Wheel represents movement. Movement represents movement. Right? Okay. In this month, we will complete medieval history. Sure? Bhagwan ne chaha to pakka. That is totally on how we go about it. But 14 classes, I will finish ancient medieval. Totally different issue. No issues. Dharma means duty. Yes. Okay. How is Sujata related to enlightenment of Buddha? Because she gave the kheer what he ate and then got enlightenment. Okay. Is Buddhism, Jainism on the origin of Kshatriya Vaishyas? Buddha and Mahavira both were Kshatriyas. Okay. Now, नियति में होगा तो syllabus खत्म हो जाएगा. Don't worry. Okay. Now, there are certain words which are related to Buddhism. First is called the Tri Ratan. Teen Ratan. Three Ratnas. Now, three Ratans. Buddha is one, obviously. Think of it like three pillars. Buddha is the first pillar, obviously. Second pillar is his teaching. So that is also okay. His teaching, which is Dhamma. And the last pillar is what is left behind by Buddha, which is called the Sangha. Sangha means monastic order, or basically the institutionalized form of monks, which is the monks are left. Buddha went after age of 80. But now the question was, what did Buddha get to know? Now the first thing Buddha got to know after meditating was called the Atriya Sachai. Four noble truths. Very straightforward. First truth was, there is dukh. There is suffering. Second thing he got to know as a truth was, there's a cause for that truth. Sure. The third thing he got to know was that this can be removed also. And how do you remove it? Is through the Ashtanga Marga. Atriya means four. This is Prakrit. It's Prakrit. Just learn the basic terms. It can come in the examination. Three Ratnas is Buddha, Buddha's teaching, and Sangha. And the four noble truths, not very groundbreaking today, which is that there is dukh. Dukh has a cause. Cause can be removed. And how do you remove it? Is the Ashtanga Marga. Now, what is this eightfold path? What is the path to salvation in or moksha in Vedic Brahmanism? Sacrifice ritual, sacrifice ritual, sacrifice ritual, punya, 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 punya. You have to go to a Brahmin. Do something. Punya counter increases. Punya counter keeps on increases. Money. Now, this is the Ashtanga Marg. Now, if you look at it, it's vague and can be done by everybody and needs no money. See, first is called visa. Right view, right intention, right speech, right action. Meaning, right here means good. Means good. The concept is, you should have a good view, which is that view should always be good. View of life, view of others should always be good. Then you should also link it up with good intention. You could have a good view, but your intentions could be wrong. What you think, what you view should also come out in action and speech. That you want to do good, but you only say bad things about a person. And your speech and your action should also be good. Visa is easy. Then you have LEMA, or we not keep it as MA, LEMM. What is the difference between view and intention? I'm looking at you. I could have a different intention. Intention is inside you. View is how you look at others. Though there is no basic difference, doesn't matter. Samadhi, I don't want to use the word that samadhi. Okay, then What does right livelihood mean? You have a very good view, you are a very good person who speaks very good, intention is also very good, but you are a dacoit, you are a thief. So your earning, how you live, should also be correct. So your profession should also be correct. And herein comes the best profession, trading. Because with right action, right intention, with honesty, you can do trading. So right livelihood was this. Write in the order of the examination. Nobody is going to ask you to write anything because it's not a prelims, it's only a prelims area. Now comes, if you want to learn it, sure. If you don't want to learn it, totally your call. Don't have to learn it. Visa lems, if you can remember, okay. Which of the following is the part of the Ashtang mark is a very simple, straightforward question. You can learn it. View, intention, speech, action, livelihood. Then effort and mindfulness. Effort means a lot of you do this. You have the right intention, you have the right view, you have the right action, you have everything right, but your effort is in the wrong direction, which is that you rather than clearing the examination, you want to become a constitutional lawyer, a historian, an economist, an international relations specialist. You want to solve India Pakistan also, India China also. So that is wrong effort, because nobody really cares what you think, and as it is, you will not be able to do anything. So the fact of the matter is, right effort is right, which is that where you can do what is more important. Your effort should be in the right direction. Then comes right mindfulness. This is called thinking. Your thinking should also be correct. That you have to think in the way wherein you link your intention, action, speech, and thinking. All should be right. Again, big fundas, really, will they work or not is of no purpose to me. And last is the most important, which is right samadhi. Samadhi here means meditative position. If you will do meditation in the right way, for you need the guru, for you need the teacher. If you will be taught in the right way, you will be able to do all of this purely and very easily. You meditate, you have right action, intention, life, view, effort, and mindfulness, and you will conquer, and you can conquer anything. This is the Atriya Sachai for which Buddha had to sit and meditate for years. You know it automatically. Your job is, if Buddha can sit for 14-15 years and come up with this, you can learn it for sure. It will take you 5 minutes. Visa and LEMS, which is view, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and samadhi. Does anybody have any issue? Ashtang Marg, Atriya Sachai, Triratna. Are we clear? That is, Ashay, you have gone to a Vajrayanic monastery. That's a separate issue altogether. Samadhi means meditative position, written on the screen itself. Right action and effort is not the same thing. Actions and efforts can be in the wrong direction. You can ask me a question, but your effort is to ask me a question, but your action is basically distracting. So it could be different. It can happen. You can keep it limbs, whatever, जो अच्छा लगता है कोई बात. Okay. The three things: Triratan, Atriya Sachai, and Ashtang Marg. Clear? Are thinking and intention the same thing? Sure. If you believe that, sure. Mindfulness linking thinking. Thinking, intention are not the same thing. You think, and intention is something else. Difference between action, effort. एक एक करके सभी पूछ लो. View, intention, speech, action, livelihood, effort, mindfulness. And what was the point of telling you all of this? See, view is view. You look at your sibling with good view. But do you do the same thing? Has your intention and your view about your sibling being always the same thing? Never. He's your brother and sister. You want good things for him. But your effort is always to make sure that your mother and father scold him. So that is called the difference between intention, effort, and view. So, yes, sochana, irada, yes, that way, that way. So, very simply, these are, if you actually think about it, there are very subtle differences between each one of them. Okay, why did Buddha oppose Brahmins? He didn't oppose Brahmins, he opposed the Brahmanical order, and that is the whole point. Okay. Now, why did these ideas evolve near Ganga Yamuna Doab always? Most prosperous section, constituencies there only, Vaishya community. Okay. But I am, Yashi, I am saying it in Pali, Atriya. That is in Prakrit, Ariya. So don't worry. Don't worry. Pali, Prakrit, Sanskrit. All three are being used. Pali, Prakrit used the most. If following Buddha is so difficult, why did it become popular? This is difficult. Half of the things you are not able to even understand what is the difference. So it's not very difficult. It's easy. In any of this, does money go? In any of this, does money go anywhere? No. So if you are a Vaishya community person and nobody comes and cuts your pocket and says, sit there, think about good things, do good to people, sell good things, don't do dishonesty and meditate, would you not like that religion? Rather than saying, go feed 1000 Brahmins, then go feed 10 Brahmins, give me dan dakshina, give me this and that. Maga means marg, yes. Again, Prakrit word. Now, before I give you a break, there are certain words which you need to know about Buddhism. Now, difference between action and effort. Anjali, your action is to ask me a question. Your effort is to get your doubt cleared. These are two different things. Your action was to write this question. Effort was to get your question solved. Now you get the difference? Okay. What about his son and wife? He didn't care. We all renunciant. He gave up on everything. Okay. Buddha means literally the concept. Buddha means enlightened one. That is why the name Buddha. How come 900 years of prosperity, then why Buddhism faded away? That I will also tell you. That will happen when Puranic Hinduism will rise. Every question will be answered. Wait. Okay. Now, we are all on the same page right now. Are we on the same page? Okay. Now. These terms are very common in the examination. And there is no end to Buddhist words. Because there's a whole religion around it. So obviously there's no end to a Buddhist word. You have to remember these words generally other than any other word which you will find in any random book. First set is easy because you already know it, which is the Arya Sachais, the Atriya Sachais, which is the four noble truths. Dukh, suffering, everybody has it. Samudaya means cause. And Ashtanga Marga or Marg, eightfold path. This is four basic things which I've already taught you. Now, the moment which type of question can come in context of Buddhist history, what does this term mean? I'll show you questions. Stop being a utilitarian, listen to me. Now, as it is, I will never teach you anything which does not make sense or is unnecessary. Now, the moment a student leaves for becoming a saint, it's called pravajya. Pravajya means if a person goes on to the path of Buddha, it is called pravajya. Pravajya means you have now started to tread the path of Buddha himself. Meaning when you give up give up on home, it is called pravajya. Then 3 words which are related to each other, and then 2 words which are the most confusing. Upasak, upasika, arhat. Now, listen to me. When you go on YouTube, every video which you see, do you subscribe to that channel? No. So basically, what you are at that moment, you are a arhat. You watch the content, but you did not subscribe to that channel. Same way, arhat is a layman follower who knows the Atriya Sachai, the Ashtang Marg, but does not and has not become a Buddhist himself. Basically, we all are arhats. In this moment, at 6:42, we all are arhats. We all are arhats because we know the Ashtang Marga, but we don't convert to Buddhism, or we are not Buddhist. So we have heard the doctrine, liked it, not like it, that's a separate issue altogether. But we heard the doctrine. By knowing about the doctrine, we become arhat. Now, if you like the content of the channel, you subscribe to it. As soon as you subscribe to it, a male subscriber is called upasak, a female subscriber is called upasika. So the difference between upasak, upasika and arhat is just a person who was passing by. He heard Buddha, he liked it, he went. Upasak, upasika is they heard Buddha, they said, okay, makes sense, good guy, and they went and said, we also want to be Buddhists. So you can be 4 levels: monk, upasaka or upasika, and you can be arhat. Monk is a one who is exactly doing what Buddha did. Upasak, upasika is a follower of Buddha's teaching, that Ashtang Marga, and arhat is a person who heard it and just knew it. The moment you turn from an arhat, the moment you turn from an upasak to monk, it's called pravajya. It's called pravajya. This herein comes pravajya. As soon as you shift to upasak to upasika, you become a pravajya. That moment is called pravajya. That I left the life of a upasak and now become a upasika. Monks could be female, but not initially. After a lot of convincing by Buddha, it became something which is that his mother and aunt convinced him to allow women to become part of the Sangha. Now comes the 2 words which basically kills most of the students, and this will remain an issue till more or less you're alive, which is nirvana, nibbana, and parinibbana. See, upasak to upasika. Upasak to upasika kya? Upasak means male, upasika means female. Now nirvana means moksha. But you can only get moksha when you do nibbana. And parinibbana is a very special thing. I'll tell you how. See, nibbana means the concept of death, which is dying out. But this means physical act of death also, and the symbolic concept, which is death or dying out of desire. Basically, you can say that I have attained nibbana, but you are standing there. So it means that you have not died, but your desire has died. A lot of times you would have seen people saying, my hunger died, bhook mar gaya. But it's not that you took your hunger and murdered it. So how hunger dies, nibbana is that. Nibbana can be death of a person also. If you've gone to a funeral of a person and they say he has attained nibbana, means that he's actually died. But you can also say that I have attained nibbana, which means I have attained the moment in which my desire has extinguished away. And you can only get nirvana when your desire dies or you die. This is why student gets confused. You get nirvana only when both things happens to you together. Your death and desire, your desire has died and you also die. And parinibbana is when a important person dies. The death of the enlightened one. So you would have heard that in Ajanta there's a painting called the Mahaparinivana or the Mahaparinirvana. That is the moment in which Buddha lied down and slept and never came back. That is called Mahaparinibbana. So when you and me die, it is Nibbana. When Prime Minister dies, it is Mahaparinibbana. So that is the only difference. Nibbana means death and the desire dying and also person dying, mostly used in symbolic terms. Nirvana and moksha means to get moksha itself. And Mahaparinibbana or Parinibbana means an monk died or Buddha himself died. Does this make sense? You have upasak, upasika, arhat, two types of follower: layman follower, proper follower. Pravajya, when you become from a follower to a monk. Nibbana means, or vimukha means, vimuti means, or arhata means that your extinction of the desire has gone and also you die maybe. And parinibbana means when the enlightened one dies. Parinibbana, Mahaparinibbana. Make sense? If it does make sense, we take a break here. Done? आ गया क्वेश्चन. Nibbana or nirvana same? No. Nibbana is necessary for nirvana. If you will, and I know how you're saying it, you're Googling it. When you will Google it, I'll tell you already. When you will Google it, it will say nirvana bracket prakrit nibbana. But don't trust Wikipedia too much, because nirvana means moksha. Nibbana is a precondition for nirvana, sometimes used interchangeably but are not the same thing. Okay, nibbana, person, desire, death, parinibbana, famous person. Very good. Shah Rukh Khan dies, parinibbana. Okay. Upasak is a male, upasika is a female. If person is died and not his desire, then you will not get nirvana. Then your nibbana did not happen. Nibbana is both death and desire. Yes, very good. Can be simultaneously, cannot be simultaneously. To become a upasak to monks, your first nibbana should happen, which is your desire should go away. Then, now you are going to make it into a CSAT question. I know that. Now you will confuse yourself and confuse everyone along with it. Nibbana implies death of desire or both. Nirvana parinibbana can happen same time. No. Mahaparinibbana does not mean nirvana. It means the death of an enlightened person. Nibbana, simple. Nibbana means death of body and desire. Mahaparinibbana means death of an enlightened person, very important person. Nirvana and moksha is the process of getting moksha itself. Right? Okay. take a break, think about it. We'll come back at 7:05 and we'll take the story forward. Now, the more important discussion after this, Buddhist councils, the most important discussion. Okay. Parinibbana, Mahaparinibbana, same thing, yes. After that, how they get nirvana? Nirvana is the act of getting moksha. That's an English word for moksha. Nibbana attained by follower, Mahaparinibbana enlightenment. Yes, very good. Moksha in simplest way. Moksha is when your soul stops. Nirvana, moksha means same thing, which is soul comes out of birth and rebirth cycle. Difference between Parinibbana, Mahaparinibbana, same thing. Upasaks were used to live in their house. They were attached to materialism. Yes. Devansh. Death of desire is Nibbana to get nirvana. Yes, very good. Now, type of question, Pooja, I will show you. UPSC asked a question that in Buddhist history, Nibbana means what? Or Nirvana means what? Okay, see you. Where the questions actually come from and is the more fertile area is the concept of 4 Buddhist councils and the difference between Mahayanic, Hinayanic and Vajrayanic Buddhism. Wherein we have to understand what happened when rather Buddha died. So till Buddha was alive, he mostly operated in the core areas, which is Magad and all. He never went to the north, south, east or west extents. He operated mostly in the core area of the Mahajanpadas. That is true for Mahavira also and Buddha. And if you remember, Bimbisara and Ajatashatru were 2 rulers of the Magad dynasty. Bimbisara and Ajatashatru both were contemporaries of Buddha, meaning they lived when Buddha was also alive. So remember that in the core area of Buddhism never went outside towards, for example, Gandhara, Kamboj, or to Anga or to Ashmaka. Never. In that core Ganga Yamuna sector, UP Bihar sector, he was there. Then how Chinese will acquire Mauryas, we will discuss that. So patience. It is Ashoka will start to spread it across the whole Southeast Asian sector. Now Buddha is dead. Buddha has died. Now, when the most important personality of a religion dies, the enlightened one himself died, there's a chance that the Buddhist order or Buddhism would automatically become obscure or would become weak if not intervened properly. So till Buddha is alive, there's no issue. The most important personality, the person himself is alive. But when he is not alive, then there's a problem. Because then there's a chance that the whole religion would become obscure or nobody would follow it generally. And therefore, when Buddha died, now the Sangha squabbles together and tries to come together in what is called as the first Buddhist Council, which is considered 486 BCE. Now, who is the monk, who is the ruler, this and that, I have everything here. Ajatashatru, Mahakasyapa. Don't worry about that right now. First, understand what happened in that council. I'll add the details later. Now, the first Buddhist council, they needed to institutionalize Buddhism. The religion was till this point only based on the ideas of Buddha. Now Buddha is not there, so there needs to be an institutionalization. Again, 486, somewhere you'll find it 483. Again, this is something which nobody can answer because different texts will give you different. There's no right and wrong answer here. You should not be confused because there is no answer to this question. Because these are things which are based on all estimations. And that too British estimation. So 483 also you'll find it in books. Now, but 486 is the most accepted. Now, in the first Buddhist council, what they do is that they institutionalized. Institutionalize the religion. And how they institutionalize religion is that they write down the teachings of Buddha and make the rules and regulations. Make the rules and regulations. What do I mean by this? What do I mean by this is that Vinay and Sutta Pitaka is written. Now, there are three texts which together are called the canonical text of Buddhism, basically like Bible and Quran. Vinay Pitak, Sutta Pitak, and Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma is not here, it will be written later. These three texts are together called the rule books of Buddhism. Vinay was the book of rules and regulations for monks, and Sutta was the teachings of Buddha. What he said. What he said. This is a very significant moment because Buddhism is trying to survive without Buddha by now writing two texts, Vinay and Sutta. So out of the T Pitaka, T means three, rules and regulations for monks on how to get enlightenment. How to get enlightenment. On how to get enlightenment. Vinay and Sutta, two regulations. And these two books are very significant because they are now institutionalizing Buddhism as a proper religion. And First Buddhist Council is known for this. Who or how, I don't know what you mean by that. The simple point is, whoever is part of the Sangha, which is the monastic order, that is Vinay and Sutta. What is the canonical text? Canonical text is the rule book of a religion or the most important text of that religion. We have Quran, we have Bible, here we have Sutta Vinay, we have Mahapurana called a text called Adi Mahapurana in Jainism. So Vinay is about rules and regulations, Sutta is about teaching and Buddha. Now the First Buddhist Council, as I said, is 486. Mahaparinivarma near it will happen in Rajgir, which is the capital of the Magadha dynasty itself. Ajatashatru is the one who organizes. This is the ruler, and this is the monk who presides over it, Mahakassapa. Have to remember this. And Sutta, which is Buddha's sermon, and Vinay are written. Does anybody have any issue here? No issue? First point of council, institutionalization of religion means religion has been made into a proper institution. And for that, you need rules and regulations and a book to follow. Okay. Buddha has died, first Buddhist council, two books written, Vinay and Sutta. Sangha is the monastic order. That monastic order needs a rule book, which is Vinay, and Sutta is basically what Buddha said. This is the codification of Buddhism in a way, sure. Match the following comes in the examination. Any form of question can come from this examination. They were written after Buddha's parinirvana, yes. Obviously, till Buddha is alive, you don't need this text. Does monk mean who got moksha or who have killed all their desires? The people who have killed their desires are on the path to becoming enlightened ones. Now, Sangha, Sangh, monastic order, people coming together, the institution, Sangha means Sangh. Sangh means people coming together, monastic order. How do I explain it to you? The monks come together to create one institution, that is Sangh. Sutta has nothing to do with Sutra. First Buddhist Council 486, most accepted, 483 also given in certain texts. Can I move to second Buddhist Council? Because there will be a start of issues. Sangh means group, but that is not what he's understanding. Group of people together. Okay. Can I go to second Buddhist Council? What is the role of Bimbisara here? Nothing. Ajat Shatru is Bimbisara is already dead. Okay. Who organized and presided needs to be remembered. Yes. Now the second Buddhist Council happens, but the context is very interesting. See, between 486 BCE and 386 BCE, exactly 100 years, there were multiple questions which were rising and coming up with regards to Vinay. There were two groups which will emerge. One group said Vinay Pitaka is very hard to follow. And one said Vinay Pitaka is not hard. Let's not change it. So basically, between 486 and 386, one group says syllabus is too hard. The other one says that syllabus is not too hard. That the rules and regulations which have been made, the rules are rules and regulations. One says very, very hard. One says it is not very hard. And now when they meet in 386 BCE, second Buddhist Council, exactly 100 years after the Mahaparinirvana, now there is debate and discussion on what is the way forward. Because the question was, Vinay is too hard. Meaning the rules had been made so difficult, nobody was able to follow. And this was presided over by a person, if you remember, I told you to remember his name, Kala Sokha, and the presiding monk was Sabakambhi. Now, at the second Buddhist Council, the first split of the Buddhist Sangha will happen. First split always happens after the preceptor or the most important person is dead. Buddhism split into two groups. One was called the Theravada, and the other one was called the Mahasangika. Now, the Theravada, also called the Theravadin, said that Vinay Pitaka does not need to change. They said Vinay Pitaka needs to change. And what happens is that they are the minority group and they are the majority group. They're the majority group. The majority group straightforward says that we need to change rules and regulations of Vinay Pitak. And therefore, the most original, and this will go now in a separate direction altogether, this is the oldest and the most original school of Buddhism, because they did not want to change Vinay Pitak itself. And it will be rather the Mahasangika which will take which will take Buddhism forward. So basically, a minority group emerged here, and that minority group left the Sangha itself, making it a part of Buddhism, the oldest and the first school to emerge automatically. So first Buddhist Council, 2 books were written. Second Buddhist Council, first split. Anybody has any issue here? Anybody has any issue here? No problem. Okay. Now, third Buddhist Council is organized, and this is by Mahasangika. I will give you a flow chart in the end, so don't worry, it will make sense to you. Mahasangika is the one who say that we need to change Buddhism, we need to change Vinay Pitak, Sutta is okay. Theravada says we don't need to change it. So the orthodox, oldest, conservative, the most original form of Buddhism survives in the form of Theravada. They are very clear. They are very, very clear. And on the other hand, Mahasangika say that Vinay Pitak is too difficult. A major differentiation between the two was Theravada used to say that if you are a Upasak, Upasika or Arhat, you are useless. You can't get moksha. So what's the point of doing that? But Mahasangika said that if you will say that to every Upasak, Upasika and Arhat, nobody is going to prescribe to Buddhism itself. So therefore, Mahasangika said, no, Vinay Pitak is too difficult. We'll make it easy so that everybody can get moksha. This is Buddhism trying to survive as a religion. Theravada, the main disagreement is over this only. That they said that Arhat and these Upasak, Upasikas, this watching the content will not make you a teacher, you are useless. Mahasangika said that if you will say that to everybody, then everybody will leave Buddhism itself. So the Mahasangika, the majority, said that we'll change the rules so that Upasak, Upasika and Arhat can also follow Buddhism closely. So one thing is very clear. First has 2 books. Second has a split. Mahasangika is also a school and Theravada is also a school. But Mahasangika takes everybody forward. Theravada comes out of the main Buddhist council in that regard. It does not remain the part of the Sangha. It's like a company which comes out of the group itself. Are we clear? Theravada is this name of the school of people who believed in that. Okay. Now, the third Buddhist council, which was organized by Mahasangika, because Theravada doesn't care, they're saying all is perfect, Vinay Pitak and Sutta Pitak totally fine. If Ashtanga Marg was so easy, then Pitak would be written something different. If it is easy to get moksha, then Pitaka was written differently. No, it's not about the way to moksha. It's about how the day-to-day practices of Buddhism happens and the monks happen. Minority does not become a new religion, it becomes a new sect. The word is sect. Sect or school. Sect school means smaller group. You are saying need to change Vinay, but you have written no need to change rules and regulation in Mahasangika. So I'm telling you, they say Vinay Pitaka needs to change. We need to change the rules and regulations. They are the ones who say that do not change. Akanksha, where are you reading? They are the ones who say Vinay does not need to change. They say that it needs to change. What is the reason behind it? Took 100 years, because when people start to practice, it becomes difficult. Panth, yes, Panth sect is the same thing. Okay. Now, third Buddhist council. I hope I've answered your question. ये V है. V is looking like no. इतना तो नहीं हो सकता. V. Okay. At present there are two. No. There are four. Telling you, Shabir, why do you jump on conclusions? Not one, but 5 are there. Bahayanic, Hinayanic, Vajrayanic, Theravada. 4. Okay, and going to do that. Third Buddhist Council is organized, and this is organized by no one else but Ashoka himself, the most celebrated of all. As I told you, 386 Kalashoka, Sakakambi, relaxation of some rules, difference in opinion, split, Theravada and unorthodox Mahasangika. Now, the third Buddhist council is happening in Patliputra by no one else but Ashoka himself, and Mogali Tisa is the monk. Now, third Buddhist council, they write the third book, or the Tipitaka is completed, and that book is called Abhidhamma. Abhidhamma is basically the interpretation and philosophy of Buddhism. Basically, Sutta Pitak. Sutta Pitak only has Buddha teaching. Abhidhamma is the meaning of that. Think of it like that. Sutta Pitak is like the constitution, and Abhidhamma is Lakshmikant. That what you take out of it. And now there are 3 books: Vinay, Sutta, Abhidhamma. Yes, summary and basic points. This is the rules and regulations. Sutta is the teachings. Abhidhamma is the philosophy and summary. Now you can see there's a pattern which is emerging. Even numbers, there will be splits. Odd number, there will be books. First, third books written. Vinay, Sutta, this is written in first. And Abhidhamma written in the third council. And second, there's been a split. So this should not be a problem. That discussion on number of conflicting ideas leads to Abhidhamma Pitaka being written, which is the philosophical doctrine of Buddha's teaching. And Buddha will now start to send missions to South India, to Burma, to Sri Lanka, to the whole of Southeast Asia, where Buddhism will start to spread now. But the real major thing comes in the fourth Buddhist council. The fourth Buddhist council is the most explosive because in the Mahasangika organized by Ashoka, Mogaliputta Tisa is the presider. Now the Mahasangika gets divided on the question over who is Buddha. Over who is Buddha. Mahasangika can be double K also, can be 1K also, doesn't matter. Mahasangika. And one group says Buddha is God and we should worship him in idol form. And the other group says Buddha is not God, he was a good teacher. He was a good teacher. This is called Kanishka. I'll tell you who, don't worry. This is called Mahayanic Buddhism. Mahayan, they used to call themselves Mahayan. And this is called Hinayanic Buddhism. Please pay attention here, very important. So, if you look at it, if you look at it, this is the basic flowchart. See, Buddhism, first Buddhist council, 2 books, Vinay and Sutta. Second Buddhist council, Theravada and Mahasangika. Mahasangika organizes third, where Abhidhamma is written. And at fourth, Mahasangika splits into 2, which is Mahayanic and Hinayanic Buddhism. So, as I told you, the rule book is very simple. Second, fourth, even number is split odd number 1 and 3. It's book. If you remember it like this, you will never forget it. The fact is, we need to understand what is Mahayanic Buddhism and Hinayanic Buddhism. But before we do that, this is organized by Ajat-Satru. This is organized by Kalasoka. This is Ashoka. And this is Kanishka. Kanishka, the most celebrated Kushana ruler. It will make sense when I will teach you post Maurya. Kanishka. These are the rulers. Are we clear about this flowchart? Chinese, Japanese, Tibetan, Buddha is God. Chinese, Japanese are not Mahayanic. They are further one more part, which is called Vajrayanic. Which I'll tell you. There are out of Mahayanic later there will be new one which is called Vajrayanic Buddhism, which will rise. I have discussed with you. First Buddhist Council, Ajatshatru Mahakasyapa, Kalasoka Sabakambi, Sutta Vinay Theravada. Then I have discussed with you Patliputra Ashoka, Mogaliputra Tisa, Abhidhamma. Fourth Buddhist Council, Kundalvana, Kashmir, Kanishka, two people, Vasumitra and Ashwaghosh. You can see there are two people presiding. And therefore, Hinayanic and Mahayanic will develop because there were 18 different subgroups which were fighting amongst themselves over the question, should Buddha be considered God or should Buddha not be considered God? Yes? Are we clear about the basic ideas? Because then I have to teach you what is Mahayanic, Hinayanic and Vajrayanic. Ajatshatru, Kalashoka, yes, rulers of Magad. Ashoka, ruler of Mauryas, which I will discuss with you. Kalashoka is Kanishka is a ruler of Kushanas, which I will tell you later. Yes? Okay. Now. Four Buddhist councils, basic facts related to it. Odd one books, even one split. Any question can be answered from here when it comes to councils itself. Now, there are now basically 1, 2, 3 and 4 types of Buddhism then. One is which is the most purest form of Buddhism, closest to what Buddha said. One, which is Theravada. It is the closest because it was the first to develop. And Theravada has nothing to do with Hinayanic or Mahayanic. Because Mahayanic and Hinayanic are splitting of the Mahasangika and not of Theravada. Theravada is one school which comes out. So basically, Buddhism has one whole body. The first thing which comes out is Theravada. And thereafter, this splits up into two, Mahayanic, Hinayanic. And out of Mahayanic come out Vajrayanic. That is the basic concept. Okay, now, let's talk about Mahayana. Yes, you have to remember the dates. Yes, you have to remember the people related to the councils. I'll tell you what is Vajrayanic. First, understand Mahayanic. Now, Mahayanic Buddhism have three very important concepts related to them. One is called that Buddha is God. What's called he's a deity, which is basically going against the idea of what Buddha wanted to argue, which is that Buddha did not say that there was some God, but he's made into a God himself. Thereafter, here, idol worship of Buddha starts. Basically, now, by the time we come to Kanishka, the Hinduistic practices started to influence Buddhism, which is idol worship. Have Buddha's idol in front of you to worship him. And what they also do is that they develop a concept called bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas are subsidiary gods which developed. Buddha being the main god, and then you have three main bodhisattvas, and you have further 4 other bodhisattvas. The concept of bodhisattva is very simple. Bodhisattvas were monks who delayed their enlightenment for you. They could have got enlightenment much quicker, but because Buddha went, now they delayed their enlightenment, they delayed their Mahaparinibbana because of you. They could have got it, but they did not do it. Why? Because for you. How and all, I have no answer. How you go and ask Buddhist monk? Simple point is, Buddha is the main god. Bodhisattvas are gods only, yes. Bodhisattva, Buddha is God, main god. Now, how you have subsidiary gods? You have Lord Shiva, then you have Goddess Parvati, Kartikeya, Nandi, and Ganesh. Same way, you have Buddha and his 3 main subsidiary gods: Avalokeshwar, Vajrapani, Manjushri. These 3 embody 3 aspects of Buddha. And you have to learn the Bodhisattvas. The first Bodhisattva is called Avalokeshwar. Now, how do you define a Bodhisattva? You see, Mahayana is called the greater vehicle. Spiritual liberation of both monks and ordinary followers. Depiction of God as Buddha as God will become very common in China, Japan, Korea, Tibet, and will become very, very common after the modern period itself. And they will also talk about this concept. Have we heard this concept previously? Accumulation of spiritual merit through rebirth. Where have we heard this concept? Vedic Brahmanism. Now you see how Buddhism has to change itself. People are starting to question Buddhism. So they say, okay, maybe you will not get it in 1 birth, you will get it in 2 births. So the concept of rebirth and spiritual merit comes into Buddhism also. So this is how the religion itself is evolving. But the idea which is central to Mahayanic Buddhism is called Bodhisattvas as compassionate monks to help others attain nirvana before self. Is a compassionate one who was stopping his own nirvana before giving others nirvana. So, Ramya, refresh. If you can't hear me, refresh. That is the irony. I'll say refresh, you can't hear me. Refresh. Okay. Compassion means kindness. See, the argument is very simple. UPSC is Buddha. You are a upasak upasika. So I become Bodhisattva, which is I have delayed clearing this examination myself to make you clear it first. If you get the point. So basically, मैं तुम पे एहसान कर रहा हूं. That rather than a Bodhisattva could have attained nirvana very quickly, but he delayed it so that everybody else could get the nirvana concept itself. That is where is the origin of Bodhisattvas. But basically, if you today look at Buddhism, Bodhisattvas are subsidiary gods. Who delayed? I delayed. If I clear UPSC, then who will make you clear UPSC? That is the idea of Bodhisattvas. Literally. So in Mahayanic Buddhism, the origin of Bodhisattvas was that they were monks or enlightened ones who stayed back and gave others nirvana, and later went for nirvana itself. Obviously, all of them are dead right now. See, I can easily tell you that they are just but nothing but subsidiary gods. But the way they are explained in Buddhism is a totally different way, which is the concept of bodhisattvas delaying their own nirvana so as to give others nirvana. That is why they are worthy of your respect. They are worthy of Buddha is God, but they are also worthy of respect and worship because they stay back for you. So basically, they are the hands or the subsidiary gods of Buddha. When I will tell you their concept, you will automatically understand it. Can I talk about the bodhisattvas? You will understand they embody every aspect of Buddha. But is it making sense to you what bodhisattva means basically? Bodhisattva is basically a subsidiary god. In the examination, wherever you see the word bodhisattva, automatically link it up with Mahayanic Buddhism. The fact is, bodhisattvas are subsidiary gods related to Buddha. That is it. Helping others or teaching them, same thing. You have to just understand one thing. In Mahayanic Buddhism, Buddha is God. If you can't understand that also, Karaku, Bodhisattva. Do you understand Avengers? Marvel Avengers? Anybody? Karaku? Understand them? No. क्या समझ आता है? What do you understand? Tell me a certain cartoon which you follow or you know, or something you follow. For the people who understand Avengers, Buddha is Nick Fury, and the other Avengers are bodhisattvas. Get it? Get it? Get my point? Karaku, I'm waiting for something from you so that I can explain it to you. Yes, in a way, yes, Thavni, very good. In the way we have Hinduism sadhus, who later now become themselves Mahatmas and worship worthy people. That is also a very good way. But if you understand this concept of Nick Fury and Avengers, you will understand it. Karaku, do you understand it? What I mean by that? You said you didn't know Avengers only. Now you're saying I understand it. God, sub-gods. Very good. Perfect. So, both Buddha is God and everybody around him is the sub-gods. That's it. Simple, straightforward. It's not difficult. Prime Minister, COM. Very good. Also very good. Very good. Prime Minister and his cabinet. Very good. Ab now understand, Karaku? Anybody who did not understand this point? Okay. Now. The first is Avalokeshwar. He is the most popular. He is the one who's represented in the Ajanta caves quite a lot. And he is also called Bodhisattva Padampani. He is the one who holds the lotus flower in his hand. He is known as Padampani, Avalokeshwar, and Lokeshwar. All are his names. Lokeshwar. All are his names. And he is the one who's one of the protective deities of Buddha. And he is the one who listens to the world's cries and comes to their aid. वो सबका दुख सुनते हैं and he comes to the help of everybody. Basically, in Tibetan Buddhism, Dalai Lama is seen as an incarnation of Avalokeshwar. That Avalokeshwar reincarnated as Dalai Lama. Avalokeshwar basically is the listeners of the cries of everybody and comes to their aid. Thereafter, you have Vajrapani. Vajrapani is a protective deity, second protective deity, and he is the protector of people. or of Buddhists. Basically, he protects the Buddhist community. Vajrapani. Manjushri is the third main important, and he is the wisdom of Buddha. And he is the one who holds the sword in his hand. That is why it's called Manjushri. So basically, you have Buddha, Avalokeshwar, Vajrapani, and Manjushri, three main gods. Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. Three main gods of Buddha. Other than that, you have Maitreyi. This came in the examination exactly like this in 2019. It is believed that Buddha is going to come back later, and when he will come back as future Buddha, he will be called Maitreyi, and he will attain enlightenment again. And in Chinese mythology or in Chinese understanding, laughing Buddha is the reincarnation of Maitreyi. Why all they hold something in their hand? Style hai. So basically, if you understand Kalki avatar, in the concept of Kalyug Kalki avatar, the Maitreyi concept comes from there. That Buddha will again come and he will attain an enlightenment, and he will be this time called Maitreyi. And Chinese say that he already came, he was laughing Buddha. So that is why you would have seen that laughing Buddha figure which you see, that is basically an idol for Maitreyi. And the Tibetans worship Dalai Lama as their spiritual leader, as an incarnation of Lokeshwar or Avalokeshwar. Then you have Vasudhara, who is the wealth and prosperity and abundance. So if you have Vasudhara deity, goddess Lakshmi basically, if you have Vasudhara deity, it represents prosperity and wealth. Skanda is the one who protects the monks. He's the protector of monks. And Sita Patra is the protector of the Buddhists from supernatural dangers. When disasters happen, Sita Patra protects you. But the most important here is Tara. The only woman Bodhisattva. And she is central to Vajrayanic Buddhism. Vajrayanic Buddhism is actually based on Tara itself. So we have one Buddha with his three main gods. What we call Vasudhara is not a woman. You have Buddha, Vajrapani, Manjushri, and Avalokeshwar, three main gods. God, sub-god. And then you have another set. Vasudhara, Tara, Sitapatra, and Skanda. And when Buddha will again come to the earth, he will come as Maitreyi. Make sense? You need to know their names. You need to know who they are, what are they related to. UPSC has a basically an habit of asking questions from this area quite a lot. You don't have to do a thesis on them, but the Mahayanic Buddhism is the only complicated one. Are we clear? Vajrapani, Manjushri, Maitreyi, Avalokeshwar, Vasudhara, Tara, Skanda, and Sitapatra. Tara is the one who basically is the one who's related to success. And I'll tell you why Tara is so important. I'll come to Tara. I'm coming to Vajrayanic Buddhism. Is Mahayanic Buddhism clear? In the examination, if you see three words, Bodhisattva, Buddha as God and deity, and idol worship, you automatically put it towards Mahayanic Buddhism. Are we clear about this? There are multiple more Bodhisattvas. These are the main ones. Okay. Now, it's not complex to learn. It is just that there are new words to you. You learn it. You can learn it again. If you can remember the full form of DNA, you can remember this also. Okay. Now,